Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. We have 2 new patches since my last video for Alpha 4.0. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members, in particular to my latest channel members Kevin, Joshua, Petri, Kolya, Andy, Xstar, and Dopic. Thank you so much for the support, it is truly appreciated. So Star Citizen 4.0 is trudging along very nicely, with Cloud Imperium releasing 1 patch on Monday and another patch just last night, bringing many more updates, improvements, and bug fixes. And last night I managed to play a bit of Monday's build, so not the most recent one, but things seem to be holding up pretty well still, although there are still quite a few issues that need fixing, of which I will show in the footage in the background of this play session, so you can see how performance was and any bugs or issues I ran into. Now, before we get to it, the TOBII Eye Tracker 5 is back on sale at 20% off for the holidays, and using that link below will not just get you the deal, but it will also provide my channel with a direct kickback, so thank you so much in advance for anyone who uses it. So, as I say, in the background is footage of me playing Monday evenings, Tuesday mornings EPTU build. Now, I was playing this last night at around 11 PM, and just like the build before it, it was so solid from a performance standpoint where I was, which was Checkmate Station and the planet Monarchs. For the most part, the server FPS was 30 consistently, and the client FPS was mostly above 60 as well, with a few drops into the 30 frames while I was planet side. Now, what's important to remember here is that performance for everyone can be impacted by many factors, but one main factor now with server meshing is it really depends on what server you're on. Now, for the server I was on, there was a total of 350 players on the Shard, with around 40, maybe even 30 players on my particular server that was catering for Monarchs. That is certainly one reason why my FPS, both client and server, were very good for those spending most of their time around places like Bloom, which is likely the most popular location in Pyro at this time. It can be a lot worse because there's more players there, there's more discarded ships and so forth, which can impact both client and server. If you were to fly to somewhere like Pyro 1 or Pyro 4 or even Monarchs, like in this case, performance will likely improve. But alongside more optimizations, like the unattended vehicle ship cleanup flow, now in places for locations like landing zones and rest stops, for me they have massively improved how playable Star Citizen is from both the client and server performance standpoint, which for many, including myself, was one of, if not the most annoying aspect of Star Citizen, aside from its bugs of course. However, there are still many bugs happening in important systems like the hangar and inventory systems that can really impact gameplay, some of which look to be fixed in this most recent build. We'll get to that in a bit, but for me last night I couldn't get my Mirai Pulse to spawn on the elevator properly, while in the space station hangar it would just sit at the bottom of the elevator. The platform would come up, but they were gathering below. Inventory was a bit balked, especially when trying to pick up a weapon or loot a body, which apparently there is a fix for that already for this NPC weapon interaction. Plus, in my Intrepid, when I placed items on the shelf, I couldn't actually access them again, including my helmet, which I believe was a known issue, or is a known issue, so hopefully that is on the cards for a fix soon. And then the other issue that I ran into was the maintenance mission on Monarchs, which wouldn't update. I arrived at the location, and then upon arrival, it wouldn't tell me where to go to fix anything. Now, this could just be part of the mission where you need to look around and find things to fix, but usually missions have a lot of UI telling you exactly where you need to go and what you need to do. So it was a bit of a shame that that mission didn't work. And in regards to missions in general, do let me know which missions you're trying and whether they're working and completing or not. Most importantly in this current build, because obviously some of those could have been fixed. But yeah, that was a big shame. Now, other than that, for what I was doing and where I was, it ran flawlessly. There is still quite a few known issues on their list, some of which I'm sure are blockers, but one fix that came with the most recent build was the repositioning player error in relation to hangars. So hopefully that will no longer happen to anybody else, as I think that would have been a definite blocker before the patch could even be considered a live candidate. Anyway, let us get to the patch notes. Again, with these kinds of videos, footage in the background won't likely relate specifically to what I'm talking about here, as I think just showing general footage of gameplay with the performance information in the top corner is more beneficial for these types of videos. As for me, something that I am very happy about is how long these patches can hold up maintaining good performance even though they've been out for quite a while. Usually it doesn't take long for a patch when it's first dropped to go from 30 frames on the server down to 5 and the client frame rate to suffer as well with all of the entities and so forth building up. But these patches seem to be holding out much more strongly, and I do feel as well, in comparison to the previous patches that we've had released, more people will be playing 4.0 on the EPTU. But anyway, for Monday night's patch, in gameplay, hauling intro missions will now cap at a maximum of 10 boxes, which is a great idea. I also think it would be very beneficial for these entry hauling missions anyway, if they didn't come in boxes bigger than 2 SEU, as most starter ships can't hold the 4 SEU boxes, and it kind of makes the mission a void from the start, especially for starter players who only have starter ships. So keep those boxes, or cap them at 2 SEU boxes, so that players can actually fit them inside any ship almost. Now, for ships and vehicles, they have removed the PIP display from auto gimbals to avoid confusion where to aim at, and they have replaced charge bindings with heat bindings on multifunction display ammo counters. And then in core tech, there's more streaming performance optimizations, instanced hanger entity culling polish, which it says will help with some but not all audio overlap between hangars, unattended ship cleanup updates to help clean up abandoned ships at cities, spaceports, and jump points. There is more on this in the latest build as well, and it should hopefully really help with both client and server FPS, slowing down that server degradation rate quite drastically, I reckon. They have also added more aggressive entity cleanup of dropped medical gowns, a very helpful improvement there, and they have added further networking stability optimizations. Now, there were 9 bug fixes with this build, including one for the personal inventory not working, mineable asteroids not showing the scan information properly, and Arena Commander offline mode thrusters should now be working again. That one threw me big time. That was really bad timing as I was trying to dial in my flight sticks. Spent ages troubleshooting the sticks thinking they just weren't registering when it was actually just a bug in 4.0's Arena Commander. I jumped onto the live build 3.243 in their Arena Commander, and it worked fine. Could have saved myself a lot of time by doing that. Plus a few other bug fixes, which are always welcome, and 7 client crashes fixed as well. And then for the most recent build that dropped at midnight last night, here in the UK, for ships and vehicles, they have increased quantum fuel tank sizes for all ships. Very happy to hear this, especially for cutter owners. It was clearly going to be a balance issue, and hopefully this means that the cutters can actually manage to get around a bit better. But again, do check out the changes to all of the quantum drives. They've really redefined each one to be more unique. Some of them giving you further ranges, some of them giving you faster speeds, faster spooling times, faster recovery times. There is a lot of trade-offs. So in some cases, it might just be better to buy or find and upgrade your quantum drive. Now, for core tech, there has been further hanger culling changes to make sure instanced hangars don't intersect or stream assets to everyone in the area. That's a very nice fix. They've enabled unattended vehicle cleanup flow by default and made it more aggressive around rest stops and landing zones, excluding pyro stations though. So again, this is going to be something that will get balanced over time to ensure that salvagers can still make money finding these ships and scrapping them. But for the sake of performance in the now time, it is important to keep that cleanup going until dynamic server meshing comes along, and if a server degrades, it can then just swap everybody onto a new one. Now for this build, there were 14 more bug fixes, including player hostility at locations, stating you're trespassing and the occupants being aggressive, irrespective of what your reputation is. Very happy to see that one fixed. It also states in this build that dropped NPC weapons can now be interacted with. That was one I was suffering with in this footage in the background. Plus, the repositioning bug, as mentioned, is fixed, and audio hanger fixes as well as 2 client and 2 server crashes fixed. So again, personally speaking, from my experience of 4.0, it is night and day better than what we have in live. especially in regards to performance. I have never seen Star Citizen this smooth and performance friendly. It is like a completely different game. Client frame rate, server frame rate is much higher for a much longer period of time, and it feels like such a crazy improvement on what we currently have in live. It does still drop after a while though, a much longer period of time albeit, and there are obviously some problem areas, especially locations where more players go at the same time, but it is in a great state right now. Now, I don't know exactly what else remains that Cloud Imperium would potentially class as a blocker before it could go live. The maintenance missions or any other mission not working, I'd hope to think are up there on the list of what needs to be fixed before it releases. And on that note, do let me know in the comments what major issues or what issues you're running into consistently in this latest build. Not so much the previous build, because they could have had a fix for it, but the more recent one especially, which I have yet to try myself, and will be doing so on stream today at 2 PM here in the UK. What I have been playing on 4.0 is so much better than the current live build. It's probably better to just release 4.0 to live anyway. And with a couple of days more of patches, I certainly feel we could see the most stable and solid live patch for Star Citizen that we have ever had, which obviously is what we all want, especially with the holidays coming up. I am confident, more so than ever, that they will drop 4.0 to live before the end of this week. So here's hoping that if or when they do, it doesn't explode and it holds up superbly over the course of the holidays. Now, there is also a new patch watch post highlighting other features of 4.0, which I will cover in a separate video, likely tomorrow. This spoke about the economy balance, new commodities and how they are distributed and found only in Pyro, so that is going to be a good one to encourage haulers taking the dangers of Pyro on to hopefully sell their goods for a premium in Stanton. There's also more heads, 20 more heads for the customizer, as well as many more other interesting updates. Also, I was completely wrong about the Guardian. I'm not going to talk too much about it because it is a bit of a leak, but it does have an interior. I had no idea, and it looks pretty cool. That will be releasing with 4.0's live release, which again, I think is going to be Friday. But with that said, make sure to take advantage of the 20% off TOBII deal if you are interested. And thank you again for using the link if you did. I really appreciate the support there. Please do consider subscribing if you enjoy my videos. And come and hang out and watch me play 4.0 here on YouTube and over at twitch.tv/SuperMacBrother. The link is below. You are all more than welcome. And if you've got any questions, that is a great place to ask them. I just cannot get enough of 4.0 right now. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour. Tick that notification bell if you'd like to be notified when my videos go live. A massive thank you to my patrons and channel members. Again, cannot do this without you guys, so thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.